Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? My strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody had an amazing Monday. Let me check my audio. Oh, yeah. Buckle up for this one. I got Devil's Advocates backstage, and we're going to be calling out the Sellout Squad, which is all of these folks that I got down here, all these mouth-breathing, fluoridated NPC clown-punching zombies that can't seem to understand what the word integrity means. And it really has gotten to a point where I'm getting sick and tired of just talking about it. And that is not a threat. It's rather, what are we going to do about it? Because it's all starting to make sense now. If it looks like bullshit and it smells like bullshit and nothing adds up and people have lied and people have covered stuff up in the past and they have a history of doing so, most likely when you have this many people scratching their head, something is awry. And somebody's lying. So I feel like we are all done playing nice, to put it bluntly. And I think a lot of people here in the Hive feel that same way, not just with this case, but with a lot of the stuff that's going on in these headlines and what the mainstream media does. And that's why I'm so thankful and grateful to be sitting here every night at 7 Central here with the Hive. If this is your first time just tuning in, welcome. This is a contrarian thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you're offended or rattled on behalf of others and you try to defend a narrative that doesn't belong to you, this is probably not going to be the stream for you. However, if you are the quote conspiracy friend in your friend group that likes to dig into stuff and figure out why the mainstream media is saying what they are and what they're trying to bury, you are amongst friends. You have found your people and you're in great company here in the Hive. So I want to say what's up to everybody that is tuning in here this evening. We got Vegas Maxi. We got K Wolf. Beach Babe said, Birdie met a car salesman who tunes in. We chatted while I test drove. Love it. I love it. Look for the bald car salesman. Hell yeah. Nice. Love that. It's probably a hell of a test drive, depending on what part of the stream you were in. What's up, Luna? Dana Rose, how are you doing? Z, I agree. What up, Ronnie? How are you doing? Caleb, good to see you. Michelle, how are you? RBJ, Rayanne, Motorman, thank you for the super chat to start this stream. That's always nice. As you guys know, I keep every stream and all of my links that I do are free. I would never ask you to invest into a Birdie crypto coin. I'll never ask you to go to WhatsApp to donate. And I only have this stream, this channel. So if anybody comes slide into your DMs, it's not me. What's going on, K Kitty? Jojo, hey. Caleb, my Louie, what's Gucci? Riding down the rabbit hole. I appreciate that. This is the best chat ever. I truly believe this might be the number one contrarian thinking live stream chat on the internet. And if it's not in stats, well, it is in my mind, which is, I guess, all that matters. So this chat and this Hive absolutely rocks. Ricky, what's good? How are you doing, Stacy? Catch you on the flip side. Pandora, April in Texas. Oh, RTR, Birdie. Straya, what's up, Whitney? What's an NPC mean? It means non-player character. Pretty much it means that somebody, well, the lights are on and nobody's home. They might as well be pre-programmed because they don't know how to think for themselves. That's exactly right. What's up, Brooke? Uncle Daddy Brother, what's cracking? Where's everybody tuning in from? Besides the air conditioner. Chantel, what up? What up, TJ Joe? Juicebox, I hope you have a great vacation. Relax, put your feet up. Thank you, Jamie. Oh, me too. I'd be curious what they think I would say. Blue-eyed Candy, good to see you. We got Central Texas nurse shirts tuning in. Life is good. Good evening, peeps. I agree. Secret Soul Survivor. I love that username. Creeping. We got Illinois, UK Karen's here, Georgia. Let's see. We got another Georgia. The Red Pill Pharmacy. That's exactly right, Johnny. Lunch Bucket. Sherman, Texas. Free Thinker, North Carolina. B is for Becca. Hey. North Carolina. Squirrel Nest. Chicago. Australia again. Brazil. The Cheesy Koala. Love it. Utah. Indy. Jersey. Scotland, Montana, Tennessee, North Carolina, coastal Georgia, Nevada, Copenhagen, New Jersey, Florida, Melbourne, Australia, New Zealand, another Australia folk here in the Hive down under. Tennessee, that's exactly right, tinfoil. Claire, that's exactly right. Minnesota, Scotland, Dina's in the RV out in Kansas. We got Wopat in Knoxville. Reggie Lou's in Missouri. Portland, Oregon's where Ash is at. Ohio. Johnny Lunchbucket's in Idaho. Craziest state in the union, Florida. I miss when the Florida headlines were the news. Chicagoland, Northern California, Tennessee, Missouri, H-Town. And was Gucci, Robin, good to see you. Cyprus. Yes, I agree. And thank you so much, Nicole, for that super chat. Social media causes brain damage, wins where they are tuning in from, which is the MPD's butthole. All right, everybody. Well, as you guys know, Devil's Advocates is always on the stream on Monday nights. I look forward to this night very much so. I know he does as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up the man, the myth, the Twin Peaks Rizzler, Devil's Advocates. What is going on, brother?
The Twin Peaks Rizzler.
I have no idea. I started flowing with it, and
you did get me in trouble with Twin Peaks, I'm pretty sure, but it's all good. That's for another day.
Wait, you told the story. Wait, you told the story.
Dude, I told the story, but I was like, I'm not going to say the name of the place. And you're like, hey, is that Twin Peaks? I'm like, well, shit. Now I don't know whether to just flat out lie, back away, sand crab from this story, or be like, yeah, I fucking owned it. Yeah, it's Twin Peaks. Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, I still, whenever that clip pops up, I think it's the funniest clip ever when you're like, oh, what an ass. And you're like, oh. And if you missed that, you guys got to go back and check out. I have it as a short and a TikTok. Just look for DA and I on screen together. And I think I said it's a Twin Peaks story for the books. Guy's just in there trying to get a lead and ends up just digging his own grave.
Even when you started that, I got nervous. He's just out there trying to get I'm like, dude, don't say it. I'm trying to get lunch is what I was trying to do. I was trying to get lunch.
Yeah. How you been, man? Good to see you.
Good. It's been a busy week, man. It's been busy.
Yeah. What do you think about this picture up here where it's saying it all makes sense now, and it's got Dylan and Bethany in the middle of it?
Yeah, fuck. I was looking through the list and I was like, I know every name in that picture, and then I blanked on only two names. I'm like, I got Hippler, I got Mabbitt, I got Banfield, I got Nancy Disgrace, Enton, I've got freaking creepy dude from Night Keith Ober. Oh no, Keith fucking. Oh god, Keith Morrison. Got freaking. Bill Thompson, right? Payne. And then I was like trying to remember his name. Fucking the next cop over, and I know it's a big one. With a B? What's that guy's name?
No,
right
it's
there?
What the hell is his last name?
Right? I blanked on
What
him.
is his last name?
And then the FBI that's the FBI guy right here.
Yeah.
It's like the last
Those two guys I always
blank for some reason.
Yeah, I blank on these two guys' names.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one. I was like,
No.
I fucking know these guys' names. Why am I blanking on those
Gunderson.
names?
Gunderson. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyways.
But yeah, that's why I'm not gonna lie. When I started making the slides for this evening, I wrote my Substack, and if you've read my Substack, I just put it out. There was a point in the Substack where I just kind of went rogue, and I'm like, even just typing this out pisses me off right now. And like
I read it. I read it
Yeah.
and I loved it. I was like, go Birdie. Like this is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that was good writing. I liked it.
Yeah, I actually, what I've been doing is I sit at the computer and I do talk to text, and I just actually rant into the mic, and then I clean it up. So I just pick a topic that I have on my list of things that I wanted to write a Substack about, and I just literally talk into the mic, rant about it, and then I kind of, go back, clean it up, format it how I do to make it a quick, easy read.
Nice.
Yeah, this is what we're going to be getting into tonight, Hive. And I know that I'm probably not the only one that feels like you can only talk about the same shit so much. You can only say this doesn't make sense so many times. But when are people going to start to listen? When are people who have the influence and the power to reach the masses? And when I say masses, I mean the masses, right? Like pretty much all these folks down here. You cannot tell me that they have not seen video clips or TikToks or reels or shorts of people saying none of this adds up. So they're either deliberately not looking at it, or they're blind to it. They're just blind to it.
I'm telling you, I could have been wrong and it could have been a guilty conscience, but I kid you not. When I was at the plea change, I think it was at, or maybe, no, it was at the sentencing. And it was at the sentencing. And Fry was there in the jury section, sitting in the jury box, because that's where a lot of the extra special characters were seated away from the audience. And I swear he fucking was giving me the stare down the entire time. Chief Fry, you know, who's retired now. Every time I looked over there, he was staring at me with a hard stare, like, that motherfucker. And I'm being self-conscious. Like, why is this guy staring at me? Like, does he see my channel? I'm like, that's that motherfucker out there saying we're all a bunch of pieces of shit in Moscow. And I'm like, I never looked over and he wasn't just looking right at me. And I'm like, dude, there's shit going on in the courtroom. Stop looking at me. You're freaking me out.
Dude, did you make eye contact?
I did, and I stared at him for a while, and I'm as I'm staring at him, I'm like, okay, he's got to be looking to the left, and I'm looking around to the left and right of me, like, who is he fucking looking at? Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me? I'm walking here. Anyways, I just fucking
look at what Chantelly Lay says. Was it the "come fuck me" eyes? Sorry for my language.
Yeah, would you fuck me?
Yikes! Yeah. Wow.
It was
escalated
weird.
quickly. That escalated quickly.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I need my disclaimer. I usually have like a parental advisory warning in the corner of my videos. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, all right, Hive. Let's get into it. If you guys have not already, please join the Discord and the Substack. Like I was saying in the intro, all of these are free. This is the 24/7 off-stream headquarters for the Hive. So what you're going to do, please click subscribe, as that is the best way to support this stream. And then you're going to go into the onto the channel, press more links, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom. And that's where you're going to see the Discord, TikTok, BirdieBombshell.com, and the Substack. For the Discord, make sure if you're doing it on your phone, you have the app downloaded beforehand. So download Discord first from the App Store, the Google Play Store, whatever kind of device you got. Then go and click that link. And Devil's Advocates, if you want to tell people about where they can find you.
Yeah, this is so I've got my main website, devilsadvocates.info, and then I got a Substack as well, which is devilsdocket.substack. I've got my Discord channel, by the way. I've completely, me and the minions, we call them the minions over there that help me out with the behind the scenes, have completely overhauled Discord. So we've got a community Discord channel now, a whole bunch of new tools. We've got a couple of new levels, I think, on the membership. So we got all these fun emojis and shit that we just added. So complete overhaul of Discord. So hopefully you guys will come check that out, because it's getting better all the time over there. So
yeah, no, and I actually I'm gonna steal that idea, and I'm gonna get going on that as well. Tomorrow I have some pretty exciting updates, some I guess additional streams, not streams from YouTube, but I guess rather there's gonna be more platforms that people are gonna be able to share the stream out onto. So stay tuned tomorrow. That's what I was gonna say. It's imperative that you are a part of the Discord. And if you don't know Discord, give it a chance. It's really, especially when they're done right and you have people that are managing it, it's very, very convenient. It's very fun. It's always active, and it's a great discussion channel to just talk about a multitude of things. So if you have not tried it out, give it a shot. Now,
yeah, I will say it's a little intimidating to people who are new to it. It was originally designed for gamers, and it's not super intuitive. In fact, I'm going to put up, by the way, a series of little small videos to introduce you to Discord and introduce you to some of these tools if you're not used to them, so you can watch a little short video and kind of get up to speed on how it works. But
absolutely. And Cameron Mayer, you know, I know that I'm about to do the Discord question of the day, but damn, this is such a great point, and it kind of fits in with the question of the day. But they go on to say, why hasn't there been one person who thought Brian was innocent to switch to the guilty side, but tons of people from the guilty side to come to the innocent side? That should be enough proof for the NPCs. You're damn right. That's a great point. It's a very simple way to say it. And Crystal White just gifted the Devil Advocates some memberships. That's awesome.
She's dropping love all night long. Thank you, Crystal, so much. I'll get off that, but thank you so much for helping out. It's amazing.
Yes, exactly. Now, the Discord question today, this comes from Sharon. Sharon had said, Birdie, how do you decide which sources to trust, and what would make you change your mind about one? It's a great question. Yeah. And obviously I got Ron Burgundy up here saying, do you mean fake news? And I'll just kind of play this as a general of, I don't ever really take anything that I see on television for face value. Don't get me wrong. it's good for getting like relevant topics, like what are the events going on in the world. But as far as what has been spoon fed to you, it's like they're microwaving leftovers and then they're going to spoon feed it to you and call it fine dining. That's what they're doing on these channels. But this is a perfect example of it. If you haven't seen this, check this out. It's a real video.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intracoastal, and we're in one of these vans. This is about as nasty. We had some vans like this last night, and then the eyeball this morning. We were not on TV. It was the dark and raucous.
Just what an absolute clown puncher. I mean, I don't understand how people can take themselves seriously when it's like, we know what you're doing, and you know, at what point
Dude,
I just don't get it.
There was that famous video with who the fuck was it? There was a major, was it Anderson Cooper, who literally kneeled down in floodwater to make it look like he was up to his waist, and he knelt down into the floodwater, and then is like, I'm here in the deep ass flood, and I'm like, you motherfucker. And then,
right here, look at this. He's down in the deepest part. Look at this guy's up to his ankles. Anderson's like, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna get
bring the crew over here. I found a pothole I can kneel down into, and it looks like I'm up to my waist in a flood. Amazing shit.
Christ.
Good theater.
Well, yes. So, anyways, I guess my answer would be this: how do I decide which sources to trust and what would make you change your mind about one? Full transparency. I like to intake news from a multitude of sources. I think it's interesting to read it. I think that in my own mind, I can pick and kind of find things that I'm like, that doesn't seem like it'd be true. And then I dive into one or two points of a story from a mainstream article. A lot of the stuff that I find that I trust comes from the alt media type channels, the people that are really out there being investigative journalists, people that are, you know, not doing it for the money, people that are not, you know, paid and contracted by the big media companies. You know, I know that that's maybe a simple answer, but a lot of the stuff that I see, TikTok, Instagram, X, they beat these big channels to the truth now, dude. There's people out there that are, and they're also correcting them in real time, damn near. It used to take months, years for a story to get corrected. It's out there within 20 minutes now when somebody misquotes somebody on the mainstream.
It's funny. I want to take a crack at answering this question too, because years ago when I would blog instead of doing video like I am now, I was nervous of alt news sources, and so it was like back when I was in Christianity, not to go to religious, but when I was Christianity, right? If I was studying with somebody, words in red always had double weight. Well, in the same way, when I was doing research, words from CNN and Fox had double weight. So if it came from some weird off the wall news agency, I'd be like, okay, this is in the news and we should pay attention, but holy shit, even CNN is covering it. Right. And it's funny because I gave them too much credit because I acted like somehow they were the end all be all. And the only reason I did it is because people would look at my alternate sources and say, well, that's not real news. Because if for the mouth breathers, if you will, if it didn't come from CNN and Fox, then it's not real news. And so I would find the story in alt news, and then I would find where even CNN and Fox is pointing out some of the connection points and say, look, even these guys, even the guys you trust, which I don't trust, but even the guys you trust are still saying that there's truth behind that story right there. So that was been my workflow for a while. But
no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, dude, it's not an illogical thought process on your end, right? But I've said this a couple of times now on stream, like, the discrediting of the internet started before the internet was even banging like it is now, with how many people are doing these alt sources where it would be like, where'd you hear that? The internet, they would make meme commercials about it pretty much and just make it sound like everything you heard on the internet's false. And in older generations, not everybody here in the Hive, obviously, if you're in the Hive, you know, you've broken out of the matrix. And I would say it still sits true. Like, I look at, like, you know, my grandma's, I look at, you know, even my mom on some stuff where I'm telling her some shit. She's like, well, I don't know. And it's like, fuck, mom, I have to now see, I can't let this go because I can't know that my own mother's walking around believing this shit.
Here's the thing, though. I honestly, I've seen metrics. I'm sure you've seen them too. Mainstream media, especially the CNNs and the Foxes, are getting nervous because their audience is going down, and more people are turning to TikTok for news and YouTube for news because they've shot their own foot. They've shot themselves in the foot. People are starting to realize that they lie their ass off on mainstream TV. So at the end of the day, it's like, who do you want to be lied to? I'd rather be lied to somebody who has a better attitude. So I'll go watch Birdie and DA, watch them and lie to me. And I'm not lying to you, by the way. That's a fucking rhetorical thing. The point being is that at the end of the day, people are starting to realize they're no more trustworthy with the news, and perhaps less so than we are. So they're starting to get nervous because people are starting to move to alternate news sources.
And they have less to lose.
Yeah.
They have less to lose ultimately. Like, it's a huge deal if a primetime TV host gets fired, right?
Yeah, right.
It'll probably be somebody on the back end that's in charge of putting the story on the teleprompter for them to read off. You know, some poor college intern gets their head chewed off by an angry Don Lemon, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. What'd you do? Why'd you make me look stupid up here and all this shit? Like, all right. Anyways, I can talk about that all day. It bothers me to my core when I hear my family members or my mom, and it's not even that. It really is not like something that I care to discuss right there in the moment with them, but it's like, I just can't believe that they're walking around believing this. Like,
yeah.
What is that like?
Yeah. Well, because your mom, unfortunately, was showing my age. I'm probably old enough to be your dad, for fuck's sake. The point being, right, is that we grew up in a different generation, right? We grew up trusting the media. That's where we got our news, right? And it's a transition to realize that to get out of that. Like, you go to the news because you have an anchor you trust, and that's who's going to look you in the face, and they built a relationship with you, and you believed them when they told you shit. But things have changed.
Well, look at what Sherlock just said. He's like, yeah, except the news reporters and editors in the mainstream media get fired for telling the truth too well. That you're right. That is how they get fired.
Yeah.
It's like we live in a clown world. It's a clown world. And I just don't understand how these shareholders, like, let's be honest, these giant media companies, right? They have ratings, they have numbers to hit. They want to keep their shareholders happy. It's like a weird dichotomy, because if they told the truth, other businesses that their shareholders probably are vested in would take a hit, would go down when people know the truth about just how much corruption and money laundering or whatever it is might be related to a topic. But instead, they're like, we're going to blatantly lie. We're going to bet on the fact that the people and the public won't look into this and take this at face value because we got a 3-letter word as the name of our news station, being Fox or CNN, or I guess there's, MSNBC. MSNPC. MSNPC is now what I'm deeming them. So
there have been, I'm trying to think of the dark-haired guy from Fox who recently left, but there's been some major news anchors who have been fired from a Fox or a CNN and decided to go rogue and go on their own. And they'll be like, okay, I can finally talk about shit that has been suppressed the entire time. Like, stuff that's been not talked about with UFO sightings and shit like that and whatever. I can't talk about that on Fox, but now I can. Now that I'm done, telling their narrative, I can tell you what I've interviewed and what I've seen and what they wouldn't let me say on TV. So yeah, Tucker Carlson was the one I was thinking of. Tucker Carlson blew my ass away when he came out and said, okay, now that I'm no longer under their wing and I don't have to fucking play their narrative, let me tell you what we were hiding from you. And I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, it is wild. It's absolutely wild. I need to make MSNPC t-shirts. That's what I just wrote that down.
That is pretty good. That is, I love it. I love that.
So, all right, Hive, let's get into the Hive Mind finds. We got a lot of them lined up for you all today, and I'm excited. I tried to pick ones that I felt would get devil's advocates fired up. No, not necessarily like fired up in like a tinfoil hat way, although DA, this is the one night of the week you get to treat yourself to wear that. I'm allowing myself
a little grace to go a little further, further in the show.
Yep. Yeah. Good. Make sure you reel me back in though if I go too far, because
it's a balance. Yeah, I'm going to bring you down a little because you go a little crazy, and I'll come up a little bit, and we'll meet in the middle somewhere.
I love it. All right. So this comes from Squeeze. Squeeze had put this in the Discord. This is an interesting video. Outcast, as I've played a handful of stuff on this stream of his. He did a bit of an audio sync from the 911 call to the start of the body cam. So I'll go ahead and I'll play this.
I don't think we have audio. Yeah, I had no audio, by the way.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That whole time?
Yeah, I started out by saying I don't have audio, but then you didn't answer, so I thought, well, maybe everybody else has audio, so I'm going to shut the hell up.
Not bad. How about now?
No.
No? Oh. 1 second. This damn audio is going to be the...
No.
Are you shitting me? I apologize.
Somebody did say they had sound, although they're probably talking about you and I. We've got sound. That video had no fucking sound.
Please work. Did the first one have sound with the CNN?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Defibrillator available. Send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Where's she at?
Do you have a defibrillator? Yep.
Where's she at?
We have one.
Where's she at?
Are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
11:59 a.m. 49 2nd November 13, 2022.
I'm going to go through it again.
Defibrillator available. Send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Where's she at?
Do you have a defibrillator? Yep.
Where's she at?
We have one.
Where's she at?
Are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
11:59 a.m. 49.
So here's one thing that I want to just mention. Now that we've seen the body cam footage, it's very obvious they knew Ethan was in there too. Hunter's saying that he was holding a knife and that he actually felt for a pulse. The other thing too that people had, I saw in the chat when I was editing about the checking for pulse, and people say, well, if they're obviously deceased, they wouldn't. I've heard mixed arguments about that. I've heard some people say, no, it's somebody has to confirm they're dead. Like 8 hours. People have been holding on to life for longer than 8 hours. You know what I mean?
You can have an extremely weak pulse, and an officer is not trained to make the determination whether that person's still holding onto a pulse. There should be an EMT that checks it out. And yeah, because you can have especially if you've been bleeding out for a while, you could be really down to a low pulse and still be alive.
Yeah. Hive, is there anybody who is an EMT or a nurse, and maybe not a nurse necessarily, but somebody that would be arriving on a crime scene or a homicide scene, or from experience? Is there significant other doing that? Like,
I will say, by the way, we have an NYPD guy in here, and he said that the cops do check for pulse. So and I guess what I would say is the clarification of cops telling, like, there's a moment where the cops come out and tell EMTs they don't need to go in the house. There's no need. I think that part was a problem. One here who's talking about cops do check for pulse. That probably could happen as well. So my bad on that. But it still feels like to me that the EMT should have made the determination, not, hey, you guys don't need to come in here, nobody's alive, kind of thing. But that was what I've said.
Right. And more so, I would say that one of the things too that's very weird is, again, they knew Ethan was in there. I have never understood why Xana is the only one on the phone call. And also, can somebody tell me now, where and what are the other voices that we are hearing that sound like Steve G and all that stuff about they were shot? Where is all of that? Who would have been saying it? Is it the people standing around them? Because it doesn't sound like kids' voices. It sounds like Steve G. So I want to know, with all of the time that we've spent dissecting that 911 call, where did that all go now? Who's doing that?
I got no answers for you, so don't ask me.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't even necessarily expect an answer. It's just
Right.
what is that? It's weird. Yeah. Where she's at? Where's the officer's voice? Where's all of that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't hear the officer on the 911 call unless it's
Asking
overlaid
where
like
she's
that.
at. Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it's just another thing that you can chalk up to being weird that will make us all conspiracy theorists for just saying, no, unlike you all in the mainstream media that want to say Brian Koberger stalked them and was obsessed with serial killers and it was a sexually desired crime. We just want a simple answer of, did you guys manipulate the 911 phone call?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
so,
Yes or no?
Exactly. Now this
Of
one's
course,
interesting.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was to say, of course, you at this point, can you trust anything? Even if they give you an answer, can you trust the answer? So we want a yes or no answer, but can you trust anything they say at this point? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. This one comes from Tig Biddies.
That is a person after my own heart right there. All right, anyways, go ahead. I want so much want a shirt Tiggle Biddies. All right, go ahead. We digressed.
Oh.
Parental warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. All right. So Tig Biddies asked, or not asked. I gotta calm down.
I can't take that shit seriously. All right, go ahead.
I just can't believe you said it's somebody that's after your heart. That's hilarious. So, man, that's great. Okay. We all know this username. What they had sent into the Hive Mind finds. They said, when Hunter leads them down the passage, originally, you'll see that the knife is not there. Yet, when the LE come back down that passage, all of a sudden it's there, and Hunter is standing with his with his hands on his head, which is true. Now, it is weird, too, if you've watched the body cam footage, Hunter going back in the house to show them, while yes, I understand that, he was walking up to the cop where the cop, just from the tone of his voice, you can kind of sense that he's nicely telling Hunter, like, dude, back up, get out of here. What are you doing? You've watched it, DA?
Yeah.
You listen, it kind of sounds like he's like almost just annoyed that Hunter's still talking.
Yeah. I don't fundamentally like. I've been trying to work through that whole Hunter having a knife thing kind of thing, because I'm trying to think to myself, what did the cops know at the time they arrived? If you come into a scene and some guy's knife wielding in the house and you're finding bodies, why are people losing their shit screaming at that guy to get down on the floor and cuff him while they figure out what's happening kind of thing? But it's all like, hey, this guy's just going to casually walk through the crime scene. Maybe or may or not maybe holding a knife, and I'll just set this down for how the fuck did that even happen? Like, I'm trying to work through that in my mind a little
DA,
bit.
I feel like, and I say this with love, but I feel like if you were in Hunter's position, you would get tased and handcuffed.
I would be toast, man.
Yeah, it would happen to you, and it would be like, sir, show us your hands, and you're holding a knife.
It's over at that point.
But
I have a 50-50 chance of getting shot if I raise my hand and I got a knife in my hand. Anyways, so yeah.
Right, but it is interesting. Like, I understand there's a multitude of crime scene photos too that you could tell that they've moved stuff around, whether they were moving stuff or they were, moving the bodies out, and it's in different spots. But there's a lot of it that it is like, what's different in this picture? It's almost like, was all of it really like, isn't there supposed to just be one set of crime scene photos? Like, and if they were moved, don't you think that it would be like, here is before we moved it, here is after? We have no discernment of, well, when was this?
Right. Yeah, and somebody, by the way, pointed out that you can hear Hunter say, I have a knife or whatever, and he's going to set it down. But even so, again, work through the scenario. They don't know what's going on. They're walking into a quadruple homicide with a guy walking around the house holding a knife, and they're just like, oh, okay, thanks for letting us know you have a knife. Go ahead and set that down and stand over here for a second and go outside with the others. Like, how is that part of the initial processing of that scene?
Well, and I want to ask one. So one is the NYPD officer.
Yeah.
Or ex-officer.
Yeah.
I want to ask one or any other police officers in here, if you pull up to a homicide where people are stabbed and there's somebody on scene with a knife following you into the crime scene.
I can't even listen to you ask that question.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
And hey, there was an 8-hour delay too. There's an 8-hour delay, and nobody knows anything. I want to know. I'm serious. I'm curious. What would?
I'm curious to see if one will answer his thought on that, or if he heard it. But yeah, that's insane. I mean, again, and it does a lot of shit doesn't make sense in the photo about when the knife got sat down and when the picture was taken. That fucking bothers me.
I feel like I would walk in and like, excuse my language, and I'd be like, hang on, do you have a fucking knife right now?
What are you thinking?
You know,
of course. I mean, to be fair, like they saw him before they even saw one body, right? To play devil's advocates, they're responding. I'm trying to work through it again. They're responding to an unconscious female. They meet a guy holding a knife. They don't know it's a quadruple homicide yet, and so you know. But at the point that you realize somebody's been stabbed to death, and I'm thinking they saw that immediately when they saw Xana. At the point that you realize somebody's been stabbed to death, do you not turn around and go, hey, that motherfucker was holding a knife just a second ago?
I mean, I agree. And also, I want to know, so check this out. They had all the time to call and text each other to get over to the house. So Dylan and Bethany, they don't know anybody else is in the house. They don't even know Kaylee and Maddie are upstairs. They allegedly don't even know Ethan's there since they only talked about Xana. And then they have Hunter go in and allegedly be the sacrificial lamb that's going to go check. And, you know, God forbid somebody's in there and he gets got too. But don't you think when he showed up to the scene, guys, that means he would have had to go upstairs without a weapon, grab a weapon, and then carry that weapon around all the way till the time the cops got there, even after he realized that nobody was in the house. And if he realized and really did clear the house and realized nobody's up there or in there, wouldn't he have to go upstairs too and check those rooms? Wouldn't he end up seeing Kaylee and Maddie as well? Wouldn't he know, like, oh shit, as they're still on the phone and he's outside with the girls, be like, it's not just Xana, it's all of them. Don't you think that that's a normal human reaction? Like if you were the guy that got called over by the girls that you were friends with because they were scared somebody's in the house, so you go and you look all over the house and make sure nobody's in there, and you're using a kitchen knife as a weapon to defend yourself for the potential possibility that somebody's in there, and then you realize, well, I got to go check upstairs. You would see it, and then you'd realize, oh, nobody's in there. I'm going to set this down, and then I'm going to go outside screaming, holy shit, there's 3 more.
Well, that's just it. Like I'm the order in which Hunter admitted that when he got in, he grabbed the kitchen knife and then he sat it back down. That's the part that's all very confusing because, again, why do you grab the knife? So, and at what point do you grab the knife? And like you said, if you grab the knife because you're concerned or you're afraid that somebody's in the house, why else are you grabbing the fucking knife? Like if you have to be grabbing it because you're afraid somebody could be in the house and you're trying to protect yourself. So if that's the case, again, how do you not go upstairs to check to see if and there's no indication, right? I don't remember anywhere in the report saying Hunter admitted that he went upstairs and checked on the other girls. In fact, for quite a while, it seemed like they almost didn't know. Oh, by the way, there's 2 more people in the house. How come nobody's talked about Kaylee and Maddie? And then it's like, oh, there's more people in the house. Like, I'm trying to work out the logic because there was a time when they were like, they didn't even know there was 2 people on the top floor. So did Hunter not go up to check on I don't fucking know.
Well, and I'm going to play this, and there's going to be some NPCs' heads that explode when I say this next part.
Please retrieve your nearest tinfoil hat. Place hat firmly on your head. Prepare yourself.
And somebody did make me a better sounding audio for that, and I thought that I switched it, and I didn't. But thank you to whoever sent me that. But my tinfoil hat comes from what Tippy Hadron Collider says. They didn't have to go upstairs. For all we know, at this point, with all the other shit Steve says, maybe he's talking about Hunter. Maybe he's talking about whoever else. I mean, how do we know that he meant the killer?
Dude, I'm sorry. You have to get Tig Biddy's name off the screen. It's killing me. It's like totally distracting. I can't have Tig Biddy's in my face.
And right. Tina Skullscar. No, the intro song was not about Dylan's GoFundMe. That's interesting. That didn't even cross my mind. So no, it was not. But that was a valid question. And thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. All right, I'll get Tiggo Biddies off. And all right, this next one, this is a Hive Mind find from Soph Reads Things. See, this is where any person with a brains bullshit meter must have to be maxed out, and like you're redlining. It's like when you're driving a car and you need to shift and you're not, and it's just literally just revving up. It's the engine's about to overheat. It's so obvious that there's no way that this can be a chance or by chance. And I want to try to articulate what I mean by this. This by itself, with nothing else weird about this case, would be mind-blowing. If this was the only thing that was a coincidence in this case and happened to be by chance, it would blow people's minds. It would be headline news that the roommates heard exactly what was being played out in Vampire Diaries, and it was the exact scene that was going on in their house. Now, is that plausible deniability to a T, or what the hell else is that?
I've got shit to talk about this. I haven't seen the clip, but I've heard all about
I'll
this.
play
So
it for you
I'm looking for
quick.
it. Yeah.
So I have the clip from the actual Vampire Diaries episode, but down here it says, I interviewed an additional roommate who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. She said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named L. B said at approximately 2 a.m. on November 13, 2022, Maddie and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar located at, whatever in Moscow, Idaho. She said she also believed Madison and Kaylee, and then whatever. The main point I was getting at is the friend said they were watching Vampire Diaries, and then on this discussion board, somebody said, I think I figured out who was crying and who said, it's okay, I'm here to help you. Vampire Diaries, season 8, episode 12. What are you? Timestamp 2334. This happens in the woods when Steven finds Karen and she's crying. Steven says, no, it's okay. I'm here to help. It's okay. I'm here to help you. Bethany and her friend were watching Vampire Diaries in the living room that shares a wall with DM's room. This has to be.
Oh, I got shit to say, brother. Play it.
Yeah. Well, here I'll play. Oops. I'll play this for you guys. Here it is.
Bonnie! Karen! You're gonna be okay. No, it's okay. I'm here to help. Get away from me. I'm here to help you. Caroline, she's here.
All right, let's hear it, DA.
Yeah. So I when I saw that somebody had a time marker and you hear a woman crying and it's okay, I'm here to help, and they said it's from Vampire Diaries and that she was admitted to watching Vampire Diaries, I thought two things. This is either I can't even fucking talk. I'm so excited. This is either a fucking Kaiser Sose moment, and you have to have known the movie Usual Suspects at the Kaiser Sose moment when
Explain
this guy's.
I've never seen it.
The Usual Suspects is a brilliant movie with Kevin Spacey, and in it, he's telling a cop about what happened in this major crime scene. And they let this guy go at the end of the movie because he tells him everything about the bad guys. And as he walks out, the cop starts playing in his head what the story was, and he's looking around his office, and all the guy did was look around the office and see things on the wall and start making up a story based on shit he's seeing on the wall, including like he lifted a cup and it said Kaiser Sose in the bottom, and he named a guy Kaiser Sose was the bad guy, and he made it up by what he was watching, right? And I thought to myself, this is a fucking Kaiser Sose movie. Like literally, Dylan's just taking shit that she is thinking off the top of her head and making a story out of it. That was my first thought.
God.
Right? It's brilliant, by the way, and I just ruined that fucking movie for everyone who hasn't seen The Usual Suspects, but it's like 20 years old, so fucking.
It's called The Usual Suspect.
The Usual Suspects. It's an amazing movie for the ending that I just fucking ruined. So, anyways, the point being is that it's amazing. But the point being is that's my first thought, and then I thought, here's the other thought. I thought, well, okay, if that's what Dylan heard. If she heard simply the Vampire Diaries, let's say they went to bed and they left Vampire Diaries playing on the screen, and that's what she heard. So she hears crying, she hears it's okay, I'm here to help, and all that's happening is the TV's on playing Vampire Diaries because they all went to bed with the TV still on playing Vampire Diaries. That could explain that as well. And then my other thought was, well, then let's see what time that aired. Now the problem is that episode aired years before it happened, but that doesn't ruin anything because people all the time binge watch old shows. They just put on Netflix and let it go over and over watching old shows.
And sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, if you've ever fallen asleep without like the sleep timer on your TV, I know for Netflix, it starts playing like the animated city that moves around. I know like Roku will do that. Well, in some of the crime scene photos they released, you see that screen. So if they just let that, like if whatever app they were on or whatever streaming service they were on sensed inactivity, it goes to that screen. Well, that screen was still on the TV when you see the cops walk in and the crime scene photos are taken. So to your point, yeah, if they were using a streaming service to rewatch that.
And literally, the character, I think they said Stefan was his name, one could argue has bushy eyebrows, is dressed in all black. Dylan's like, I saw a guy in all black with bushy eyebrows, and he's saying, I'm here to help. And I'm like, it's fucking Vampire Diaries. She either just did a Kaiser Sose move and just fucking replayed in her mind that thing and made shit up on the fly, or she matrixed it together because she was so drunk that it all blurs together and none of it's reality. But again, media will now run with it left and right and say, oh, absolutely, Brian Koberger was in there and he said, I'm here to help you, like some creepy motherfucker. And you're like, that was a Vampire Diaries episode, probably playing on their TV. But,
yeah. Or to what Psycho Stench said, if this is true that everyone's already dead when she wakes up and hears everything, I'm going to segue off that because I just put a thought in my head. That's either, again, what if everyone is dead? Like we hear on the Linda Lane, what sounds like the double tap, the two quick consecutive shots, we hear screams, we hear a lot going on right when the girls get home. If everyone's dead, is that like a plausible deniability of saying, oh, I was asleep, I was messed up, I had no idea, I heard this and that, and then they're going to rely on the fact, well, no, she didn't actually hear that. If you listen to Vampire Diaries and you listen to it, she heard the TV, so her witness statement, she actually didn't hear anything, and we can't even question her because she doesn't know, she was asleep through it.
And stop for a second, because, he says Karen, I think, instead of Kaylee. But what Dylan said was, I heard him say Kaylee. Well, okay. So originally she just said, I heard I'm here to help. I think then later on she said Kaylee, I'm here to help. But someone has asked to play it again. So now that we've covered, if you can play it again.
Yep, I'll play it right now.
If you can play it again. Now that people are aware again, what Dylan said was, at some point I heard Kaylee go up the stairs. She screamed or yelled, somebody's here. She ran back down. Then I heard her crying in the bathroom. And some man who I didn't recognize said, it's okay, or Kaylee, it's okay, I'm here to help. And then now let's go to what was playing was Vampire Diaries and play that scene.
And in addition, I'm sorry, but if I was staying over at my significant other's house, saying like from a male's perspective, and I'm in the room with my girlfriend at the time, and I hear one of her roommates scream that, I guarantee you my girlfriend is sending my ass out there to see what's going, like, what was that? Go look, babe. Go, you know what I mean? Like something, like somebody would have left the room, even if Dylan didn't, I would have guessed.
Yeah, and when we have to get done playing that clip, let's play the clip. But I want to address, because there's a lot of people that are correcting me left and right on whether Kaylee did, she said Kaylee or not.
Bonnie! Karen! You're gonna be okay. No, it's okay. I'm
Right.
away from me. Caroline, she's here.
Caroline, she's here. Maybe it's like she thought she heard yell, someone's here. I don't know. It's plausible deniability, guys.
Right. And again, to the, some people have been trying to correct me a lot, and I don't know that they're doing it mean, but like people are trying to correct me. Hunter never picked up the knife until this is such a, you're wrong. Hunter didn't do this, you're wrong. Hunter said this. She didn't say Kaylee. She did say Kaylee, and all that. Because if you're confused, it's because entire fucking America is confused. The story has changed over and over and over again, depending on which report you want to read. So which of the 3 reports from Dylan do you want to go with as the one that's true? Which of the reports from this person or that one? So again, you can find any version of the story you want and say, well, you're wrong, it didn't happen there. But you can look at another version and it did happen that way. So and I'm not mad at you, people who question. What I'm saying is the story is the reason we're all confused is because the fucking story changes all the time.
So I'm glad you just said that, because that is ultimately what is it has to at some point make its way into the mainstream media, especially this. How has this, just by a sheer rating standpoint, they could twist and spin this of like, oh, the Vampire Diaries is playing, and look at the scene that was like, they don't even have to get into anything else that would be suspect about the roommates, and they would get views from it, and they don't. So to your point, DA, I agree. It's all confusing. It's all ass backwards. None of it makes sense. And to try to have anybody say that this is the 100% the right version of what happened, or this is what happened, again, we're just thinking out loud. Nobody is going to be able to get it down.
Right. And the difficult part is, and this is what I think is a problem with a lot of people, is that once you believe the official narrative, then when you read the documents and something doesn't match up, but some other part does, you just start ignoring all the stuff that it's called confirmation bias. So you've decided now you know exactly how it happened. So when you're reading the documents and 2 different versions or 3 different versions come out, one of them kind of fits the way you think it happened, you start to go, oh, that proves it. That's the one that proves it because it's the one of the 3 versions that I got told that matches what I think happened. And so it's confirmation bias. And then you tend to forget that there's a whole bunch of contradictory shit. And some of us don't believe the version that you picked as the right version as being the one that was the right version.
Well, yeah, well said. Well said. All right. Now, this is from Chloe. Chloe had put this in the Discord, and she had gone on to say, this is so concerning. Jack D is so suspicious because, like, what do you mean you don't remember a call with Kaylee at 2 a.m. that lasted 17 minutes? And if you look at the ISP report, it says, I noted in looking at phone records, but there had been several text messages the night before between Jack and Kaylee. The last text message was from Kaylee to Jack at 2:15 a.m. telling him that she had his vape and that he could come pick it up at her house. I advised Jack that there appeared to be a telephone call at 2:26 a.m. between Jack and Kaylee that lasted approximately 17 minutes the night before. Jack said he did not recall the phone call and cannot explain it. Jack said maybe in his sleep he thought it was an alarm and he pushed the side button of the phone to turn the ringer off. I have learned that Jack had been referred to because one of his professors was concerned about. The website states the mission of this is to provide care and concern for students, faculty, and staff and someone said that he had been missing more classes than normal and that the breakup with Kaylee had been bothering him. He talked about her going to Texas and the fact that she initiated the breakup.
So I have to stop right here because talking about 3 or 4 different versions of fucking, pardon my French, I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs, 3 or 4 versions of Jack DeCour's story. There was a version of Jack's story in which he said, I woke up the next morning and realized I missed a bunch of text messages and shit from Kaylee and Maddie, and I didn't realize they had been texting me. That was one version. I woke up and I saw that I missed a bunch. Another version was, I knew she was texting and calling me, but I thought Kaylee was calling me for a booty call, so I just fucking ignored it because I had to go to work the next morning, so I just figured she's calling for a booty call. Now, which one is it? Did you not wake up until the next morning and realized you missed a bunch, or did you see her calling and texting and you thought it was a booty call? And then another one now comes out as, okay, maybe I talked to her for 17 fucking minutes, but I don't remember that shit. Come on, man. Like what? Yeah. And again, here's the thing. Pick which narrative you like. If you like the official story, Jack didn't even get those messages until that morning. He didn't even know what happened. You ignore that one time. It's like, maybe I did talk to her for 17 minutes, or maybe I thought she was calling for a booty call, but I ignored that shit. Just pick which version you like and go with that.
Okay. Can I also say this? It's like the Karen Reed butt dials, because what I'm saying is a 17-minute phone call. Why wouldn't Kaylee hang up when she realizes, oh, he's not talking back?
Right.
So anyways, I just thought that was super interesting. And then you see, like, again, the text was about a vape. Right. And then a call 11 minutes later. So I don't know if it was like, hey, come get your vape and then sleep over. You know, who knows what that could have been? Who knows, right? Like, and
here's the thing that people don't. Here's a scenario that I'm okay. Only on your show. Only on your show.
All right. Look at what Bad Mom Bree said too.
What?
A vape was found under Kaylee.
Yes. Yeah, I heard that. So I had heard one of the texts or something to Jack DeCour was something like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I thought to myself, one thing I've never said out loud, because maybe I'm riffing on it live while I'm doing this. There was a moment early on when the girls went out to take Murphy for a pee, right? And then they lost Murphy. And someone comes into Bethany and says, you know, do you know where Murphy's at? Because we can't find Murphy. If Kaylee thought Jack just come and took Murphy, then she could be texting him like, where the fuck, man? Where'd you take Murphy? Did somebody take off with Murphy? And she thinks it's Jack. Jack took Murphy. That's why Murphy never came back to the house. And she's like, what the fuck with my dog? She's trying to text to find out. And it could explain a lot if that dog doesn't show up until fucking later. I've called that dog the magical teleporting fucking transporting Sasquatch time traveling dog for a reason. Because that dog seems to be all around the crime scene. It doesn't track blood. Sometimes they say people heard him outside and he was moving away from the house. Other times he's walking in the house. Other times nobody heard him barking. I'm like, fuck that dog. But
and then there's a picture of the dog under the desk.
Right.
You know, so
all right. Pardon.
Yeah.
Sorry. Rant over.
I agree, man. No, I love it. Rant away. All right. Now we are going to get into something that is unbelievable. Shout out to as I'm very regularly starting to say now, but credit is due where credit is deserved. Or is that what's that saying?
Credit is deserved. No, I don't. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Now I'm losing it.
Pretty much just shout out to Sherlock because he's been sending me, unbelievable emails for Hive Mind Finds, and I'm more than happy to, help spread the word about this. And as you can see here, we have some angry NPC that doesn't care about evidence. He just looks like the type of guy that would do it, which is, again, just disgusting that in America, that's in anywhere in the world, that's what we're going to go with,
right?
Is that you don't care about evidence. I've had that in my comments before. I actually broke my first clown horn that I got by clown horning somebody so hard when they said, I don't care about the evidence. You're crazy. Shut up. You're going to get sued. You're an asshole. And
I don't care about the evidence.
I don't care about the evidence. So, that's this lady in my head. When I found this picture, I don't know what that person looks like, but that's what I think. But Sherlock said, this is exculpatory forensic evidence from King Road, and it's mind-blowing. So you have unknown male A, the blood on the second floor stairway, and it was not Brian, not Ethan, and there was no testing. Then you move on to unknown male B, blood on the first floor stairway handrail. Same story. Not Brian, not Ethan, no testing. The bloody glove, unknown male D. Now, this is important. It's found 25 feet from the front door. Blood of unknown male. It's not Brian, not Ethan. Payne claimed it wasn't on body cam, but Nunez footage shows it clearly. Then we have knife sheath, which is going to have unknown male C, and that's additional male blood on the sheath, no testing. You have 2 more DNA profiles. By December 17th, 2022, the labs have documented 2 more unknown male DNA profiles that are not Brian, not Ethan, and they're still untested. Plus, the cherry on top is you have bloody items in Dylan's room. You have a pink and white blanket and a pink and green jacket with victim blood, both found in Dylan's bedroom, buried in a June 8th, 2023 lab report. Ann Taylor flagged it as withheld discovery. The judge shut it down in closed court the same day the prosecution filed protective order on IgG sample. That, again, if you have just one of these in addition to Brian Kohberger's, the normal case falls apart. This is what I'm saying. People's heads explode. Actually, they don't even explode. People, their brains turn off when they hear Brian Kohberger. If you put this on paper with none of the victims' names or none of somebody's names, and you just had people look at it, do you think that one person did this?
There was that judge was never going to allow the possibility that other people helped out with the crime, which is why we never had to test any other blood. They had one person they wanted to put it on, one. And so we're going to ignore all the other blood samples in the house because literally they said, we already had Brian Kohberger's DNA. There wasn't any reason to test all the other stuff because we already had Brian Kohberger. It's like, you literally ignored any possibility of alternate people helping out or whatever. Even if you believe Brian Kohberger was in the house, he wasn't alone. And you're just like, I'm just going to ignore that there was other people there because all we need to, and here's the thing. I think it's partly because it confuses juries. If you have to explain that multiple people under the house, it's going to confuse the jury. And it's much more simple for them to have one guy. So if you start pulling in, well, who was the second? Who was the third guy? They're mysterious random people we don't have. It just gets super hard. So you narrow it down to one guy, you ignore all evidence that shows there was other people helping, and it makes an easier case to have.
Exactly. This should be bombshell. And I feel like that word is overused. It's hard for me to actually admit that because obviously my username is Birdie Bombshell, right? But it is bombshell. This is insane. It's wild to me that all of this times up over and over and over again, and yet nobody from the mainstream news will either listen or take it and run with it. And that's how I know that these people, they're not journalists. Like in my Substack today, I talked about like there's a death certificate of investigative journalism at the mainstream level. It's dead. It's gone. It was executed, shot in the back of the head, thrown in a ditch, does not exist. Nobody cares on the mainstream level. Now I'm talking about like the top of the top, right? Nobody cares anymore about it because if they did, they would be freaking running into the office. Like I picture an old movie scene from like the 90s or the early 2000s where reporters are like sprinting into the lead editor's office. It's like, we got to go with this. And they're like, it's going to be your ass if this is wrong. Like I can picture the whole scene. Right. And yet now it's just, nah, no, we're not going to do it. Nope. We're going to
Yeah.
run with Nancy Grace's talking point.
Oh yeah, like the panty sniffer.
Yeah.
That had to take it to the next level.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. So it's one of those things where it's absolutely, it's a shame. And to move on to the next slide, to hammer that home and go right back to the sellout squad, you have 4+ unknown male DNA and blood sources that have been ignored. There is bloody evidence in Dylan's room that was hidden, and the body cam contradicts sworn testimony.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, and it's hard because here's the other thing. I know I'm not the only one that feels like this. We've talked about this a ton, and then more comes out. Now the body cam comes out. It's like, oh, well, that contradicts the sworn testimony. Oh, we find out, or Sherlock had just said, that on June 8th of 2023, this victim's blood that was found on items in Dylan's room was buried, and Taylor flagged it, and it was shut down in closed court. We're finding out more and more and more, and yet we feel like we're just banging our heads against a wall. The definition of insanity is you're doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Well,
yeah.
What else can we do? What else can we do? Because although, yes, Brian Koberger's name is attached to this case, it's not about Brian Koberger. This is about a system that has been corrupt, and it's been the good old boys club, and they take advantage of everybody. And if they can do this when there are so many eyes on this case, and they'll still have people run cover for them, and they'll still get promoted, and they'll still get transferred, they don't get persecuted to the highest extent of the law. They don't get fired. They don't lose pensions. They don't do anything to get punished.
Yeah.
But then there's people that'll be deplatformed for questioning it when there's obvious wrongdoings. It makes my blood. It just makes my blood boil, dude. It honestly does.
And I'm with you. And it sucks ass. The appeals window is closing. And this is the other rant that I have. This is what kills me the most. The appeals window is closing. I don't think Brian Koberger is going to appeal. I don't think anybody's going to come in with a last minute miracle and again, I'm not even saying Brian Koberger had nothing to do with it. I'm saying there's other people who are going to walk, who are involved in this because that's the simple narrative. And the best part for the media is that they weren't very careful before, but they no longer have to be careful. Once the appeals window is 100% closed, they can say whatever they want, and they can add new details. Oh yeah, and by the way, he also said this, and he also did this, and no one will ever be able to challenge it because there will be no fucking trial. There's no option whatsoever, and the narrative will get worse. They will start telling you all the shit you didn't know before, and they literally can just make shit up, and nobody can do a thing about it. He can't sue anybody for defamation of character. There's none of that. They can say everything they want to because it's just going to be acceptable. Open season on the story. So
that's a great way to put it. It's open season on the narrative. It's open season on the narrative. Or did I just say that twice? But anyways, you can do whatever you want to the truth is what I'm saying. Yeah. You can now have the truth be whatever you deem when you've effed the narrative 9 times to Sunday, right? It's gone. It's destroyed. There is no hope in anybody feeling like they're going to understand the full truth of this case. And that could be the goal. I'm telling you, DA, I've been putting this out there. I feel it in my gut. Brian Koberger, if he does not appeal, within a year, he will be Epsteined.
Yeah.
No doubt. They've already started planting the narrative of the complaints in jail, of how he's being berated through the vents. He's not getting his food. He's making these complaints. There's the mainstream sources saying maybe he's suicidal, maybe he's this, maybe he's that. And to me, and one of the things that we've talked about on this show a handful of times, and we briefly discussed it the last time you were on the stream, but we used to talk about it way more, is if this is some sort of operation, Brian Koberger is a Fed. I mean, seriously, that sounds crazy. If you're hearing that for the first time, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just a messenger. You can't tell me that there's not been operations before that run parallel, and that whether people died or they didn't die, whatever you believe, what I'm trying to say is to not think that they can have a multi-victim attack run cover for an investigation to end up nailing an entire criminal organization, and they don't want the public to know that that's what the hit was. They're going to blame it on some weirdo with bushy eyebrows that, sadly enough, the world accepted as enough evidence, which is that this should be a case study by itself, DA.
Yeah,
it should be a case study on how to brainwash people.
Yeah.
And when you can have that talking point alone convict a man and have him sentenced to death by firing squad, damn near, unless he admitted guilt, because then that's the nail in the coffin of, well, I don't know anybody that would admit to a quadruple homicide. I wouldn't do that if I didn't do it. No way I'm saying it. Yet you would say anybody that would connect dots and say this doesn't add up, the 8-hour delay doesn't make sense. They're the first people to go, well, you don't know. You weren't there. And it's like, well, you don't know. You're not in Brian Koberger's shoe, douchebag.
Right.
So,
right. And again, I mean, there's a million scenarios for why somebody pleads guilty. And again, if under some circumstance, if Brian Koberger was involved and there was others, have you ever heard of the phrase, there's honor among thieves? Even people who do bad things won't rat out on their teammates, won't rat on whatever. So if Koberger was involved and nobody else is coming forward and he's going to take the fall, some people, as sick as you may think this will be like, well, I'm not fucking giving up anybody else. So I guess I'm the only one going down for this. And you'll just fucking take it on the sword. And that's some kind of weird honor among thieves kind of attitude. It's like, well, I guess I get, because whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to stand by my word and not ratting out people who I was involved with.
Exactly. And there's a fine line to toe between, I was thinking about this earlier, how, and maybe it's a question for 1-1 or for police officers or people that have worked in the court systems, understand that what I'm about to say, I don't know. But I've always felt from when I follow cases that it seems like the police and the state, to get a prosecution, they'll work together, right? The police feel like they got the right guy, and they're really hoping that the prosecution team doesn't let it slip. So there's a collaboration there, right, amongst them. So they want to make sure that they're all on the same page. So it's kind of like a big game of telephone. And if you don't have somebody that's thoroughly combing through what the police are saying happened with a fine-tooth comb, think of how easily a small detail can slip through the cracks that ends up solidifying a case. Now you can argue, was it intentful? Was it accidental? Are they going to correct it? Right. So it's interesting.
Here's the thing. I mean, I don't talk about this a lot, and I hope I don't misstate, but first of all, the FBI was involved in this case according to Moscow Police Department from nearly day one. And yet, what do you have? You have a person who committed a crime crossing state lines. That's a federal crime right there, crossing state lines. So he went from Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho to commit the crime. FBI is involved from day one. So then you have to ask yourself, why the fuck wasn't this a federal case? If he crossed state lines, that's a federal case right there. And the FBI is involved from day one. So why isn't it a federal case? Why isn't the federal government bringing charges up against him? Because they could easily have pulled rank and said, this is our case. He crossed state lines. It's a federal case. We're going for him. Here's the other part of that question. FBI doesn't ever prosecute something they don't know they're already going to win. They have a really good conviction record. They know that they take on cases they know they're going to win. So one scenario is the reason why the FBI didn't take it on is because they thought they might not win that case. They're like, you guys fucking go do it because we'll help you out, but we're not going to hang our hat on that one because I'm not sure we can fucking nail the guy. Or they did something illegal, the FBI, which is my theory. The FBI did something illegal and they didn't want it to have to come out. So they're just going to like, you know what? We gave you a tip, wink, wink. You just take the tip and run for it. Now go do your real police work and get him some other way because the tip we're giving you is illegal and I don't want it to come out in court. And when it was starting to get blurred, this is a conspiracy theory of mine, when it started to get blurred and we were going to have a court case and how they got to Koberger was going to come out and the federal government was going to get ratted about what they did illegally, they were like, take a fucking plea deal. Get out of that case because we don't want to ever have to explain how we got Brian Koberger.
That is such a good point, dude. Top dog for you, DA. That is a good point because and also you did a really good job laying out how it's logical. It's not that much. You said conspiracy, but is it? I mean, that seems like a reasonable thing to do in that position, especially with Hurwitz involved. And you look at the timing of when he did insert himself. And you look at the cases that he does get involved with, why he would get involved with them. I am going to do a poll here in the chat, and DA, I want you to answer this as well, but Hive, type a 1, and this is only if you could wrap your head around it, not if you think he is, but Hive, type a 1 if you could wrap your head around BK being a Fed. type of 2 if you think there's no chance. And what do you think, DA?
I think it's possible. It's one of those harder ones to grasp. It's super hard to sell to the public, but yes, there's an element in which, again, big funding was coming to Washington State University to study something. Brian Koberger was a top dog in criminology. He could have been involved with the feds from day one. And so there is a scenario. And again, that's option number 3 about why the feds would cover this up. They don't want it. They don't want their hands anywhere on it because they were involved in somehow. And if it went to shit or if it was on purpose, whatever the case may be, they don't want nobody fucking looking into Brian Koberger was involved with the feds at some level.
Yeah, and I think Brandon just hit the nail on the head. And also, yeah, I mean, although the timeline is a James Bond-esque timeline, I'm saying, some sort of informant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
some sort of informant behind closed doors. He's got to just put himself out there behind closed doors. He's protected. There's a lot of people that have said he's in like a handicap cell. He's in some sort of special, larger cell that's not normal. The narrative around him and how it's just being solidified. I don't understand why anybody is being followed on whether or not there's complaints if you're threatened in prison. And it's odd because from the victim impact statement to today, since that victim impact statement that just shook everybody, it ate up all the headlines. And I've said this, people want to talk about disrespecting the victims. I'll say this. No headlines made it into the news about the victim impact statements when family members got to talk about what they lost. The only thing in the news in that headline from that sentencing hearing was talking about big D's that are going to be waiting for Brian Koberger and that he may have gotten A's and B's in school, but behind those prison walls, I mean, and then they're calling him a pedophile or just a week and a half to however long it was, a few weeks after Thompson stands up, says this was not sexually motivated in any way, shape, or form, saying that it's just so.
Dude, and that's a personal thing.
Away.
Yes, and I people need to fucking educate themselves on pedophile. You can't have 20-something-year-old people and be a pedophile. But yet they'll say it. The only reason Steve Gonsalves is running his mouth with the word pedophile is because he's trying to find every reason to stir up the prison population to kill Brian Koberger. Oh, he's a pedophile. There's no pedophile anywhere remotely close to the thing. These are grown women. They're
college-age adults.
There's no pedophilia. Just because there's somebody's child, technically, I'm 55 years old. Is that if you do something to me, are you a pedophile because I'm 55 and I have a parent? Like, freaking use some logic. And calling him a pedophile was the dumbest fucking thing ever. Get educated a little bit. Like, I'm saying that rhetorically because I know your audience is not, they're educated on that. But I got so sick of now we're calling him a pedophile too. And I'm like, how the fuck do you guys even sleep at night? There's no pedophilia in 20-something-year-old people. Like, I don't even understand. You're just throwing names out there to get him.
But DA, he was around the house 23 different times, right? That means he stalked him. Oh, wait, no. Thompson, in addition to saying he was not sexually motivated, said they can't even place him in the house and that cell tower would have had a number of people pinging saying that they would have been near the house because there's that tower covers there all the way to the freaking highway.
Right. And I'm going to say the rant again. I don't even remember who the asshole that said it. I saw the crime scene and I saw there was a cinder block outside the window. And I imagine Brian Koberger sat on that cinder block doing the slow stroke, watching the girls through the window. I'm like, are you like, you literally
investigate him. Somebody needs to investigate that guy. I don't know. I don't even know who said it, but that's
what I'm saying. They're going to be able to say whatever they're going to be able to say whatever the hell they want. Once it's done, meaning no appeals windows, it's over. They'll be able to say whatever they want, how they want, including they'll be able to now do what that guy did. Oh, you know what? We've got evidence now that Brian Koberger was sitting on a cinder block outside there watching the girls for weeks. Well, wait a minute. I thought, no, it doesn't matter. It's never going to be a trial. You're never going to be able to dispute that. That's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who said that, but I would say, that whoever that person is, maybe they sat on some cinder blocks. Maybe they had a little bit of projection.
It's like,
but
this is
so
it's insane.
But dude, and I am curious too. I want to ask the Hive. I want to take a second here and check in with the chat for the people that said too about they couldn't see Koberger being some sort of informant, although he had a past drug use. We obviously had Will on the stream. Take that for what it is. I mean, some people thought that Will was legit. There's other people that didn't. I can tell you right now, myself and Phoenix vetted the hell out of him. He was who he said he was. And he also has said that ever since that stream, the question of asking if Brian was an informant has kept him up at night because he's never seen Brian use. And Brian would only ride with him when he would drive to Patterson to pick up H. Okay, so the only time Brian Cooper is around is when they're going to buy. Does that sound like an informant?
Right?
It kind of does.
It does. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And anyways, DA, now I've been excited to show you this Hive. Buckle up. I'm going to say that this tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day is going to blow your mind. When I say viewer discretion advised, it's not because it's graphic. It's just, some people might not want to hear it. Some people might think it's really interesting, but it's about how with organ harvesting and why you should maybe double take a little bit and question if you have the organ donor box checked on the back of your license. And people will say that's a conspiracy. They'll do more to save you if you don't have it checked because you're not going to donate your organs, versus if you have that box checked, they may be more apt because they know they can utilize your organs, maybe whatever. But this is mind-blowing. Okay, so I'm going to let this play. I'm going to make this full screen here for this video. Come on now, you son of a...
After being taken to a hospital for a drug overdose, Anthony Hoover woke up in the middle of having surgeons cutting him open to harvest his organs. Hoover's sister noticed his eyes open and look around with emotion, but she was told that it was just reflexes. The staff told his family that Hoover had given permission for his organs to be donated and that he was declared to be brain dead. But according to a witness, he woke up, began thrashing around, crying, and making attempts to speak, which was ignored by doctors at first. An hour later, the doctors finally stopped because he was showing too many signs of life. Hoover is now recovering from these wounds. This is not an abnormal event. In the medical industry, there is a huge demand for living organs, which is why the term brain dead was invented.
The way it occurred was that Christian Bernard did the first heart transplant in South Africa in 1967. 3 days later, they did the second heart transplant. And you don't know where that is, but I'll tell you. It was done in Brooklyn, New York. And what they did is they cut the beating heart out of a 3-day-old baby and transplanted it into an 18-day-old baby. And at the end of their surgeries, a short time after the end of their surgeries, both of those babies were dead. It was illegal. It was immoral. And so they had to do something to make it legal. And so what they did is they set up a committee at Harvard, and the committee invented brain death. The committee did not do studies on dogs or cats or rats. They didn't collect data on human beings. They just invented brain death. It doesn't get better. It keeps getting worse after that. Then a lot of people think that brain death means flat brainwaves. They're not even required to do brainwave testing. The way they did that, they studied 9 patients, and 2 of the 9 still had brainwave activity. And then they concluded no longer is it necessary to look at brainwaves, so it's not required to look for brainwave activity.
So when they're doing the transplantation on people they say are brain dead, they're never
all
going
alive. They give paralyzing agents when they take the organs, so that they don't move and they don't squirm.
So horrible.
And even if they don't move and don't squirm, and they cut on them, their heart rate goes up and their blood pressure goes up, which is the response to pain. But they can't demonstrate that they have pain
Because they're paralyzed. They medically paralyzed them.
Yeah.
So they can't respond by...
Right.
That's horrible. Horrible.
And it gets really bad if you pay attention to it.
Apparently, we are having a human organ shortage.
The United States has a very severe organ shortage.
Every year, there's over 100,000 people waiting for organs, and there's additions on a weekly basis to that list, and fewer people coming off the list. And so we're in this constant state of crisis trying to find organs for people in need.
The demand for young, healthy human organs is much greater than the available supply. And while we are mostly told about the life-saving aspect of organ donation, private industry is hungry for young living bodies too. Medical research personnel call these beating heart cadavers. And according to MIT Technology Review, donated bodies are powering gene-edited organ research. As more and more young people overdose on fentanyl, the human organ business gives thanks.
An unexpected silver lining to the epidemic of drug overdose deaths.
Drug overdoses are now one of the leading causes of death in organ donors, especially among young people.
Drug overdoses have spiked since the opioid epidemic started sweeping the nation, and health experts say the only silver lining has been the increase in life-saving organs for transplants.
Organ donors who have died from drug overdoses have increased by 500%.
500%. That's huge.
That's huge.
A trend they really started to notice 4 years ago. Klassen said it started in New England, spread through Appalachia, then to the upper Midwest, now claiming the lives of those all across the country.
So that is mind-blowing, and that's why I kind of gave that disclaimer. As disgusting as it is, it's real. And you look at trends in the country and how that lines up perfectly. That, again, is something that I can't seem to think that you can easily connect dots with real-life video clips that, wow, there's a shortage in young people's organs, and the leading cause of death is drug overdose in fentanyl, which typically affects young people, and therefore it's a, quote, silver lining to that.
Yeah,
OD. It's wild.
And it's not even a matter of, oh, well, the person who needs an organ is a higher quality human being. It just simply is worth a fuck ton of money. The insurance company is going to pay huge money to take something out of one body and put it in another body. It doesn't even have to. I mean, there would be an incentive to be like, okay, what's this person's quality of life versus this quality of life? Let's go ahead and take this guy's good organ and put it in this guy's because he's got a better chance. It's not even that. It could be literally as a matter of, I can bill about $100,000 to the insurance company if I replace this guy's organ with this guy. Fuck that guy. He can just die. We'll go ahead and build this massive, and that the profit motive is enormous. Our healthcare system is out of control. I think the black market thing is a majorly underreported thing. It's something that nobody wants to touch with the 10-foot pole. It's real.
It's absolutely real. And
sorry, I do want to tell a cautionary tale, if you don't mind, Bertie. I want to tell a cautionary tale. It's not directly related to this, but I want to give this cautionary tale to people who may not know this. Thank God that I was on my parents' list as the primary person to call in a case of emergencies. When my father passed away, my father had an organ donor list. I did not know this. He was an organ donor. And yet, when my father was laying on the slab in the hospital, not fully done with the autopsy or anything like that, I literally had people calling me because I was the point of contact. Can we take your dad's cornea? Can we take all your dad's skin because we've got a burn victim that needs the skin right away? And I'm thinking to myself, he already fucking signed a waiver. Why do you have to do that? My God, if my mom had to have covered those phone calls. Thank God that they were calling me instead. So watch out, people, because even when you have that organ thing, you will have somebody call you up and saying, hey, can I take your dad's eyes right now? Can I take his skin right now? And that's a fucking difficult conversation when you just lost your parent or your spouse. So careful on that.
Man, yeah, that's powerful. That I don't even know what to say to that. I can't even imagine taking that phone call for my father. And like you said, thank goodness it wasn't your mother having to deal with that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's tough.
You know, the other crazy part about the healthcare system is the insurance claims that go with it. As obviously you and I have talked about, I know you've been big on the Luigi case. So was Ali Benevento. I've seen a huge uptick in the number of nurses and doctors and people that are speaking out about how this cash pay is like absurdly cheaper if you just do one thing, and that's call ahead or call around, take a little bit of time and call and ask about a cash pay option. You know, and you'll see like they would have been billed $2,000, but their cash pay was just over $200 or whatever it is. Now, I don't know the specifics, you know, where I could just rattle them off the top of my head on what those surgeries may be or what they may look like. But I'm sure people in the Hive have seen those nurses that like they're showing you. They're like, this is what it would have been if we billed the insurance.
Yeah, and by the way, it's an old movie, but do you remember the movie Coma? That was what the book and the movie Coma was about. Somebody who discovered that a hospital was keeping people sedated and then listing them as in a coma so they could harvest their organs on the black market. And that was a long time ago. It's gotten far worse, I think.
Well, yeah, it's wild. That could be an entire stream. But DA, let's quick. I'll give you a chance here to plug the LISC. The exciting news around LISC, and I don't know if you mentioned it fully on stream last time, but I'll go ahead and give you the floor. DA's got some extremely exciting news for his channel and for the Hive as well, because he was kind enough to bring us in onto this. So I will let you explain it.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We're switching gears a little bit from Idaho 4, but so the Long Island serial killer known as LISC, there's a man who's been arrested, Rex Heuermann, as the primary suspect in the Long Island serial killer murders. There was a bunch of bodies. It started with the Gilgo 4. It started with the search for Shannon Gilbert. The attorney for Shannon Gilbert, when that started that whole search and looking for Shannon, they found bodies of the Gilgo 4, which led to another 7, which led to, I think, now 10 bodies that are attributed to the Long Island serial killer. That attorney was John Ray. I just got an opportunity to represent or to interview John Ray. And I was going to do it with Bertie at the same time. And I was trying to pull Bertie in because I think Bertie and I think is going to cover this story next year. It's going to be a huge story. John Ray and I kind of agreed to just do it one-on-one this first time, just to add a little less complexity. However, here's the exciting part for the Hive, is that John Ray is totally cool with Bertie and I doing the question and answers with John Ray live after the show. So we're going to premiere the interview that I've already got in the can. It was a really good premiere. He dropped some bombs that have not been heard by anybody on my show. Even Bertie hasn't probably heard the full interview yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to play that premiere on September 10th. We're going to play it live. It's about an hour and 20 minutes of John Ray and I talking, where Bertie and I and John will both be in the wings to take questions and answers afterwards. And then Bertie and I will talk to him, and we'll watch the chat. We'll let you guys ask all the questions you want about Long Island serial killer, and we'll go. And John's excited about it. I think Bertie's excited about it. And by the way, it doesn't end there. I've got another big documentarian, Joshua Zeman. He did a 7-part series called The Killing Season on A&E or Prime. You could go watch that. Josh Zeman is also coming on my show this week. I got that interview with him on Wednesday, and same thing. Bertie and I are going to have Josh Zeman live to take questions and answers after that premieres on September 17th. So I know that's a lot of dates to keep track of, but I think Bertie and I will do a fantastic job keeping that conversation moving, keeping these guys engaged. They want to have an opportunity to talk about the things that they talked about. Huge opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful that you had brought me in on that. I'm excited to have the premiere show to everybody to watch the interview with just you and him, and then we'll have everybody live to do a live Q&A. So I'm sure within each of our Discords we'll have questions that you guys may have, but we will continue to promote those dates coming up here in the first couple of weeks of September. And I think that's awesome, DA. I mean, you've been grinding it out, dude. And I think that, even how you and I met, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but DA had reached out to me when he heard me talking about the funding from the NIJ to Washington State. And there's a lot of people that have reached out that are other creators that have just said, like, yo, we should totally collab. Like, DA took the time. He wrote a super professional email, and obviously look at what stemmed from that. So you have a talent in getting people to come onto your show, and it's awesome to see you using that for a case that's coming up that, as you said, is going to be huge. So again, honored to be a part of that, and thank you for bringing me into it. And with that, DA, any general closing thoughts that you have here before we wrap up the stream?
I guess my closing thoughts is I'm still trying to decide on this Idaho 4 thing, how far to go. Like, for example, I only got 55 pages into the Idaho State Police documents review, doing my deep dive, right? By now, it's old news. Everything's moving so fast, right? So fast. And I've got 3 cases. I'm covering Luigi Mangione in New York, and that case is starting to pick up again. There's been a new filing by Karen Agnifilo I'll be talking about tomorrow, brand new filing from Karen Agnifilo. There's the LISC case, which is going to be enormous next year. So I'm kind of transitioning, but I know people still everybody wants to keep talking about Idaho 4. And I don't know where you're at, but I'm trying to decide. I'm like, is it worth it for me to finish the deep dive on documents that freaking everybody else has talked to death already? Am I going to offer anything that they haven't already heard? I don't even know where to feel right now about the Idaho situation, other than it's still, everyone's all over it. But I just don't know.
I can answer that. And I have a pretty simple answer, is that while as I've said a couple times, I think everyone's a little bit like, hey, we're beating our head into a wall. We're expecting a different result. Definition of insanity. But I can tell you from a 40,000 foot view, and just as an umbrella statement, there's probably no bigger case that we are going to see that has so many eyes on it that I swear to God, if Brian Kohberger appeals and it goes to trial, people see the corruption, it's going to check every box. Look at what LE did. Look at what the news did. Look at what these authors did. Look at what these creators who were bought and paid for and are under agency said. It's going to explode. And to me, it's worth it to continue and sit here, old news, new news, going back to the beginning, talking about shit and speculating on stuff that nobody knows, but that just happened. Hypotheticals, in my mind, waking people up to it and getting more and more people to at least recognize that there's never been a better opportunity of a high profile case to do so. So that's what I'm motivated by, because I could genuinely tell you that this is a red pill nuke that is waiting. If it happens that way, people will, it's inevitable. You can't not be red pilled if that all comes out and this truth comes out. So that is kind of where I stand. It's not to say, don't get me wrong, Hive, as I'm sure everybody in here, sometimes it's a grind talking about it, but that's the motivation for me, is that I've been passionate about, warfare on the narrative, right? Narrative warfare is my whole thing. I hate when people just take the headlines at face value. It drives me bananas. And this case seems like the epitome of all of the players involved in this that go into so many other aspects in our community and societies that just, they're corrupt, they're bought and paid for, people don't get the truth, and then the media spins it, and you watch people stick their heads in the sand and take it at face value. So that's my motivation.
And along that lines, we're still 12 days, 10 days, 12 days away from the appeals windows closing. It's still possible Kohberger will file an appeal. It's possible, if he doesn't file an appeal, that the Innocence Project can see something that makes them want to open it back up. Somebody could file something. So even if this goes away, to me, if the appeals window closes and he didn't file an appeal, it's really hard to keep talking about it. But that archive, our archives should stay around, because if anybody reopens this case, it's fucking game on. And we'll be reminding everybody about all of the things that never got answered. And this is the reason why it's being reopened, because the whole story stunk to high heaven. And let me remind you, I don't care if it's 3 years, 5 years from now, let me fucking remind you why this case is coming back.
Yes. And I will tease one last thing here, and then we'll wrap it up. But I was texting DA over the weekend, as everything was, all that bullshit was happening with my PayPal and my Gmail and all that shit. And I was like, DA, I'm flying out to you, dude. Me and Mrs. Birdie are coming out there. We're going into Moscow. We're interviewing the locals, and we're going to have a fucking premiere on the after the fact. We're going to talk to people. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like that would be something people would be interested in watching and seeing and hearing, is people who they know are not going in with any sort of intention other than, I want to hear from everybody. I don't care if they tell me that they think he's guilty. I'll show it.
I gotta say, I will be stoked and honored just to take you and your wife out to dinner with my wife and just sit down at a table. It'll be also an honor when we both go into the afterlife together, because we got shot in Moscow together. That'll be kind of cool. But other than that, the fucking dinner part will be epic. Going to the afterlife together will be also all right. It'll be, there's a better way to go. But not bad.
Decker's gonna get us on the hiking trail. Oh man. Well, DA, as always, thank you so much. I look forward to every Monday night. To everybody that tuned in here, I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central. Please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. That is the best way to support the stream. And with that, Hive, I will see you all tomorrow evening. Cheers, DA. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.